Hi, it's Micky Dolenz here. You're listening to Inspirado Projecto.
Welcome to Inspirado Projecto. What you are about to hear is from July 15th, one day after the Harmonic Convergence. By the way, if you've heard those episodes, thank you so much. Those are bits and pieces of some of the wise people that were on the Harmonic Convergence, which took place July 5th through the 14th on Facebook Live. So tonight, first I'll get to that second. So this, what you're about to hear, is from a piece of a Zoom call, a Zoom get-together, and had a lot of people who are from the Harmonic Convergence, and Mark Sims, who put together Harmonic Convergence, was there on the call. And so I thought, ooh, this is great. And he's describing a diagram. And you'll hear Paz Martinez. Paz sounds to me like mariposa, which means butterfly in Spanish. So I call her the Cosmic Butterfly, or the Cosmic Fairy. I met her through the Harmonic Convergence. And so people are asking Mark Sims questions. They're asking him questions, and she pops on there, and you get to hear what happens. And so if you're into this kind of thing, if you're into fringe theories, UFOs, if you like that kind of thing, sit back and check it out. All right? And heck, maybe pass it on to people. Tonight, which is the 17th, he's going to be on Zoom again. And so we're going to do what is called the CE6 meditation. Close Encounters of the Sixth Kind meditation, with the intention of bringing about extraterrestrial contact. You know, it's so interesting. This little hummingbird has been coming around here. Every time I talk about this stuff, the little hummingbird appears. And I don't know if you know this or not, but hummingbirds' wings, they move like infinity, like the infinity symbol. I'm out here on the balcony, and my good friend, the antenna tree, starts moving around. Every time I call out its name, every time I look at it, it starts moving around. I love it. It starts waving to me. Look up hummingbirds and the symbolism of hummingbirds. See what you find. Also, what you're about to hear is a piece of the meditation that we use. It's been said that HU, H-U, which is funny because human, hum, hug, that word HU is the sound of God. It's the song of God. So it's pretty interesting, isn't it? Listen to that. Did you hear that horn? Those are, and then the little bird, those are reassurances that the universe is listening, as far as I'm concerned. That's how I play with it. Anyway, here we go. Get ready for some really unique information that I promise you're probably not going to hear anywhere else. If you have any more questions, or you want me to direct you towards some of these people, 9 p.m. tonight, Pacific Standard Time. That's when we're meeting on Zoom, on the Zoom call. And so go to Mark Sims, MarkSims, Sims, like simulator. Go to Sims, just like the video game name. Interesting, huh? Go to his Facebook. He's going to do it on there live, but also we're going to be on Zoom live. So I'm sure he's going to put up the code on there so you can join us if you're interested. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to Inspirado Projecto. If you got any questions, you can email me at inspiradoprojecto@gmail.com. You can also call me at 561-203-9179 and leave a message on there. And then I will include you in the podcast. Thank you. Thanks for listening. Thank you.
Omnipresent present experience. So these are what I'm describing through these use of these words are actual dimensions of celestial consciousness. These, okay? With the entire complement is 15 dimensions. Okay, I'm going to stop there. Are there any questions?
Yeah, I'm sure if anyone has any questions, please raise your hands. And I just want to recap. We have Mark Steens from the Harmonic Convergence movement for everyone that is just jumping into the chat. And Mark is explaining the different stages of universal consciousness. So if you caught any of that or anyone that will be listening, if anyone has any questions, please raise your hand on your setting, and we'll try to get as many as permitted.
Yes, I have a question.
Okay.
I've heard that that transition from astral to physical, at some point it could have been gel, and then before solidifying. Do you think that is true?
Well, I think what you're trying to describe is how does a higher dimensional, like astral being, manifest the physical body in the physical realm. And I don't know how that takes place, frankly. All I know is that it's possible for an astral being, a higher dimensional, what in this model is represented is a six-dimensional being of 6 dimensions of freedom. In the green column on the right, you see at the top the label dimensions of freedom. In the physical realm, we have 3 spatial dimensions, which I show down below. But when you become an astral being, after becoming human, when you ascend to that level after physical death, you become an astral being. It's like the caterpillar becoming the butterfly after it is released from the cocoon. And what Tezjbar explained to me is that when a human being dies, usually they're reincarnated into another human being to continue their journey of developing into a highly spiritual being for the purpose of eventually becoming an astral being. And when they meet the conditions of ascension, then that's what happens. And in the bottom row, I have the definition or the brief description of what's required to advance to the next major stage of conscious evolution for the individual soul. So you can see in stage 1 and stage 2, it's just all you have to do is procreate. As an insect or as an amphibian, reptile, or fish, you just have to procreate. In stage 3, which is the stage of the birds and waterfowl, you have to mate and raise young to adulthood. In stage 4, same thing. You have to mate and raise, your pups to adulthood. For humans, it's now more than that. You have to master unconditional love, and then you can ascend. And then you become an astral being, a higher dimensional being that has access to 6 dimensions of freedom and has direct access to 10 dimensions of consciousness. But to access the 5 in the physical realm, they have to manifest a physical body. Okay? To experience the physical senses, you have to have a physical body. I mean, this is self-evident, I believe. And this is what Tezjbar explained to me, that when he merged with me, he then could experience the physical world through my body, through my nostrils. He could smell things. Through my taste buds, he could taste. Through my eyes, he could see the world in a different way, in the physical way, and he could hear what I was hearing, but that was only possible by being in my body. And he happens to be a celestial being. When I met him, he was at 12. He was at level 12, what I label here as apprenticeship. Now, by merging with me, he's a level 13 being, and the symbol for level 13 beings is the Metatron's cube, which is made up of 13 circles. If anybody knows sacred geometry well, they're aware of this, and I've kind of superimposed the Metatron's cube in that number 13 there.
Okay.
And this, okay.
Yeah, we can see it right here.
Okay. And in fact, he explained to me, in order for him to become a level 13 being at the celestial level, he must commune with a physical being in the physical realm, and that would be me. Okay, so what? And you could say, "Whoa, Mark, are you telling us that you are now a celestial being? Have you been somehow chosen? Are you some kind of prophet?" No. What I am here to tell you is that what I experienced, you have access to yourself. You can experience too, but there's work involved. You have to do the work. And that's what the CE6 meditation, in large part, is all about. It's about meditating. It's about centering yourself, about developing these dimensions of consciousness so you can have access to the higher realms, so to speak, and pull down or channel knowledge, information from these higher realms. And you, too, can have a communion with a celestial being. And I'm going to let you in on the biggest thing of all, that what I recently learned, I suspected it for a number of years, but he confirmed for me that Tezjbar is literally my future higher self.
Wow.
Okay, and we all have these higher selves, this celestial aspect of us, the higher self. That.
So Mark, so if Tezjbar is your future higher self, that means that you were also the person that he was in Chile?
That's right.
Wow.
In Argentina, in Tierra del Fuego.
Argentina, correct.
Mark, I have a question.
Yes.
Anna, if you can raise your hand, we have a list of people
Okay.
ready to go. So the next person we have is Echo Blake next, and then when Mark is on with his response.
Okay, so am I answering a question for Mary right now? Or Echo Lake?
No, that was, I don't know who asked that question. And another thing that I will ask you is when you ask the question, please say your name and where you are from. So whose question was this? Because it only said iPhone on the screen. Okay, no response. Okay, so...
I can be quick.
Okay, yeah. Hi, Echo Lake.
Hello, Mark. Thank you so much for signaling the new era. Right on time, brother.
Thank you. Thank you. It's my pleasure and honor.
It's incredible how we're moving together as a species into the evolution, and the transmissions are coming through, and really what tour de force in making space and signaling the transition of our species. I'm curious if all these aspects here, just focusing on this chart. I also put a question in the chat there that was forwarded to us by email. But I wanted to ask relative to this chart, all of these are simultaneous, right? I mean, I guess I was curious about Tezjbar's relationship to both time travel, but also the coexistence of multiple incarnations of all of these stages that are being laid out so clearly in this chart. I've done a lot of esoteric research, so I'm curious if you also mentioned, Rudolf Steiner's work or Swedenborg or Tezjbar referenced
Yeah, Tezjbar never referenced Swedenborg or Steiner directly. That came as a consequence of my own independent study. What Tezjbar did have me do is study things like numerology and sacred geometry. The major world religions was an area he encouraged me to study. He had me study Sigmund Freud. So I studied Sigmund Freud quite deeply, and in particular the psychic apparatus model, and how that factors into the big picture of how consciousness works. He had me study quantum mechanics, and a number of other things. But, to your question of how do we access time, or, does everything happen at once? For us humans in the physical realm, obviously not everything is happening at once. We are on a timeline. We're experiencing time along a linear path from the past into the future. That's just how it works. Time, Tezjbar said to me, keeps everything from happening at once. So we can have a physical experience, and we can go through the change that is life and is our spiritual development. You must have this, linear time experience for you to go through the changes to, evolve into something more than what you once were. But he did allude or talked very specifically about imaginary time as one of the dimensions of reality. And I have that on the far right of this chart, you can see. So there are two dimensions of time in this model. Linear time is the column in blue, and then purple is the imaginary timeline. And what he said to me is that we access this all the time. We just don't think of it as a dimension, one of the dimensions mentioned or referred to in the model that is superstring theory. And he says we access it all the time. We take it for granted. And it is simply the ability of our mind to think about a memory in the past, or recall, an experience from our past and bring it to our mind so that it's in our CPU. If you think about your brain or your mind as the central processing unit of your awareness of the now, you're pulling information from the past into your CPU, and you're accessing that previous memory in the Akashic record by exercising the imaginary timeline. We likewise project into the future whenever we plan for an important event. Let's say we are planning to launch a business, and we think of all the things that we need to put into the business plan. We are literally imagining the business, laying it out kind of like a blueprint, and constructing it in our mind. And then once we imagine that and we put it down on paper, we begin executing or otherwise manifesting that business into the physical reality. And that what he says is that all possibilities exist. All possibilities exist. So they all exist simultaneously. But we, being masters of our reality, we drive the car, we drive the ship, using imaginary time by setting a destination and going for it. And just keep going for it. As we go towards that goal that we imagined, we are literally bringing into the present reality a parallel future existence that does exist, but we're pulling it into the physical realm by working towards that goal. Does that help answer that question?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I'll definitely want more details when we can talk to more length. Appreciate it.
Okay, great.
Thank you so much. Do you have time to take more questions, Mark?
I do. I would love to answer more questions.
So next we have Deidre and then Anna. So Deidre, if you like to unmute yourself and ask Mark.
So Mark, I'm from Alaska, And after I did that meditation at 3 a.m., when I went to sleep later, I was woke up by this really large humming sound and light. I mean, I could see light through my eyelids being closed, and my dog was barking. And when I sat up, and I could just feel this whole vibrational energy going through my body, and it went on for like 15 minutes. But what I saw was holographic images that were colorful around my room.
Uh-huh.
So that was just my interesting experience of after doing that meditation at 3 a.m.
Oh,
so
wonderful.
I haven't yet to figure out what it all means yet, but that's what I experienced.
Well, that's very, very cool.
I found it interesting that the dog heard it so also. That was what was interesting.
So that's a confirmation that you had a real experience, number one. That's important because often when we have these strange experiences, we later begin to doubt whether we had them. And so it was really great that your dog was there and your dog experienced it, and you know that it was a real thing. So tell me again, you said something about a holographic imagery, or can you speak more to that?
I saw like geometric shapes that were holographic and in color that were like around me in like the air.
Okay, I want you to do yourself a great favor. Mm-hmm. There's a thing called a Tesseract. Have you heard of a Tesseract?
No.
Okay, I'm going to explain this first through words. When you imagine you have in your hand a wireframe of a cube, okay? And you have a light shining on the ground. Maybe the sun is shining really brightly and casting a shadow on the ground. And as you hold this cube, a wireframe cube in your hand, you rotate it in the sunlight and project it on the ground, which is a shadow, is a two-dimensional projection of this three-dimensional cube in your hand, right?
Right.
And you can orient that in such a way to make your three-dimensional cube look like a square in the shadow on the ground, right? But if you continue rotating it, you will still recognize the cube in the ground, but it won't be a square. It'll look like, it'll change in shape. What you were seeing outside the window was a projection of a higher dimensional object in 3 dimensions. And so it's like a shadow of a higher dimensional object, but it appears as a 3-dimensional object. Now, if you go onto YouTube, I want you to search for the word Tesseract. I believe it's spelled T-E-Z. Here, can I have your phone for a second? I need to do a search on it.
Susan Lilly just had one up. If you look at Susan Lilly's screen right now, she has the 3D one spinning. It's
okay.
Tesseract. Tesseract.
Okay, so so that is that's a 4-dimensional object that is rendered into 3 dimensions, which is ultimately then rendered into 2 dimensions on the computer screen, because your computer screen is 2-dimensional. A 3-dimensional object is an illusion. It's again a projection onto a 2-dimensional surface of a 3-dimensional object. And we view it as 3-dimensional because of the shading. But when you have a higher dimensional object like a Tesseract, which is a 4-dimensional object, and you begin rotating it, and this is done mathematically, and that's projected then into 3 dimensions, which is then in turn projected into 2 dimensions so you can see it on the screen, you get this weird-looking thing. And that's what you saw outside your window.
Okay.
It was probably an astral ship or an astral portal that was rotating, and it was moving in the higher dimensional space, and that's why it was moving and looked like sacred geometry spinning or moving around.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Did that answer your question, Deidre? Okay. So we have enough. Can everyone hear Deidre, or it's breaking up for her?
Yes, it did. Thank you so much, Mark. Oh, by the way, I found it. There, can you hear? All right. Yeah, he answered my question.
Great, Deidre. I'm so glad that you were able to describe what you saw. And I will tell you something that I really haven't mentioned much because I felt it would confuse the reader. But I write my book, 13 Days with Tezjbar, and when he appeared at the end of my bed, he was scintillating. He was like sparkly all over. And he's also, there was this sacred geometry. He was made up of sacred geometry, and it was moving. And it was, it was so confusing. It was so surreal. And that was, and I don't write about it because it would just confuse the reader or confuse the people I talked to. But I now know that he was a higher dimensional being projected into three-dimensional space. And what I was seeing in this fractal geometry was his essence. It was really remarkable. It was really cool.
Great. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Next, we have Ana Olivero. And just a reminder, please keep the questions short and on subject. Everyone gets a chance to ask a question, or everyone that has a hand raised.
Hi, Anna.
Hello, hi everyone. I'm Anna. I was born in the Dominican Republic and I live in New York. So I wanted to say hello, very close from my heart to everyone. And I understand that you are introducing us to, or me, to very complex issues and topics that perhaps require a lot more conversations.
Okay.
However, to keep it simple, I want you to define what is mastering unconditional love for us as humans.
I can tell you, because I just discovered the answer. This for me was the Holy Grail. I spent so much time reading books about love and unconditional love, and I had come across the answer many times, but I just didn't really figure it out until recently. And the reason I figured it out is because I applied it. I applied this idea of unconditional love. What I originally thought was it was simply mastering the kind of love we have for our children. So I have a daughter. She's now 30 years old. I'm very proud of her. She's a doctor who lives and works in a hospital in Philadelphia. And
I'm a doctor. I'm a pediatrician.
Are you really? Wonderful, wonderful. Well, my daughter is someone I am just so proud of. And no matter whether she was a doctor or anything, I would have been proud of her. I love her no matter what. If she were to do the most horrible thing in the world, I would be there for her. I would support her. There's nothing she could do that would keep me from loving her. And that's what I thought this unconditional love was. And I was so certain about it that there were times when I just felt that's got to be the answer. And I stopped searching. I stopped questioning what it was. But then something happened in my life in 2016 that led to this journey that ended in my discovery of the real answer. And that is the love, the unconditional love you have for yourself. That we are human beings, and by definition, we make mistakes. It's part of our spiritual development. And some of these mistakes we make in our lives are of such magnitude that we can never forgive ourselves. And so that holds us back. We can't, that guilt is so heavy that we can never be happy or feel true love for ourselves or for others. And what I discovered is that mastering unconditional love is simply is the unconditional love you have for yourself. Being able to forgive yourself and move on, and don't let your mistakes define who you are, because they will hold you back from being a more spiritually developed human being and mastering unconditional love. And ultimately, you cannot truly love another person or thing without first mastering unconditional love for yourself. And that is the answer. That is it. And I want to give you a very important exercise I want you all to practice tonight before you go to bed. When you're getting ready for bed, go look at yourself in the mirror, look into your own eyes. Look at into your own eyes as though you're looking into someone else's eyes, and say, I love you. You are perfect. You are a wonderful human being, and you are great and have great potential. And just keep telling that to yourself, because it's true. You are an amazing being with unlimited potential. And so do that. That is going to get you there very quickly if you keep at it. And there will be those of you that will have a very difficult time with this simple exercise. I know, because when I started doing it, I really had a hard time looking myself in the eye and saying that and believing it. But then I realized I had this major breakthrough that, of course, I'm worthy of unconditional love. I'm a human being. I'm a good person. I've lived a good life. Yes, I've made some mistakes. I have regrets. But you know what? I've let it go. I've forgiven myself for all those regrets that are holding me back. I don't regret anything anymore. I cherish my mistakes. I cherish them. They are lessons that I need to learn to teach me what's good and what's bad, what's right and what's wrong. And now that I've made that mistake, I know I won't repeat it. I'm going to stay away from that behavior and want to stick to doing the right thing. And that's it.
Well, thank you so much for that, Mark. I hope that answered Anna's question, which was a beautiful question. I think many of us have that same question. And
it just transmuted my perception of love. It's completely transformed. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. It's the key. It's absolutely the key. It's the most important thing I can teach you. Forgive yourself. You are a beautiful, perfect being. There are no regrets. If you have a regret, go forgive yourself in the mirror for that, and just realize it was just part of the learning process. There are no There are no mistakes. There are only lessons.
correct. And I think that's one of the things that it's kind of a big part of the learning process, and understanding that we talk about forgiveness a lot, but me personally, I always think that it was forgiveness to others, and I forgot to forgive that myself first. So that's my experience. Next we have Mary. Mary, if you can come up, and please remember to keep the question short and say your name and where you're from.
I'm so excited I got picked. My name is Paz, or Mariposa. I have so many names, but I'm known as Mari. I live in LA County. I have so many, I guess it's many questions in one. I've been with you, Mark, Tezjbar, and another friend of mine that gave me the name of Mariposa, which is right here, Stony Kurt. He's my sorcerer, my wizard. He unlocked me. He unlocked this fairy. So, and now that you're talking about the
realms of creation and all this, it makes sense because I've had near-death experiences before, and I was being in touch with these celestial beings, and I was really scared that I was gonna die, but they gave me another chance, and they gave me another chance because I have a mission, and now I get it. So that was my first experience with the celestial beings, and I was in that transition of going back to all my memories, all my past memories until I was a child. But fortunately, I was saved for a purpose. So here I am, and it makes sense that I saw you because I had been in touch somehow with the celestial beings. I have seen the army of angels. By the way, they're beautiful. And
I see them right with you. I see them right with you. They're blinking at us. Does everybody sing that? They're right there. They're right on the screen. Do you see them? They're blinking right there.
Okay,
Yeah, they're with you.
I have seen purple. Purple.
Yeah, they're right there.
Oh my God.
That's them.
I feel them.
Wow. Yes. Yeah, this is contact. You are having contact with your star family. This is what we mean. These are your star
I'm writing
family.
everything down, Mark. This book was given to me. We are
made of stardust. Yes.
I unlocked it, Mark. You
Is this being recorded?
Yes, it's being
Oh,
recorded.
this is amazing. This is really the deal. This is it, guys. This is the real deal.
The star people of Isabella, they came to me. They were purple. No wonder I had seen the three beams of light. Yesterday during my meditation, I opened my eyes. The first thing I saw, 3 purple lights, and the 3 beings that I made contact with. I have been writing everything down.
Lovely.
The conversations. They show me their beautiful realm. It's amazing. So I get it. I get the physics behind it. I get the quantum world. No wonder I have been so my collective consciousness self was so fascinated with this, and I think I'm a time traveler. I am a time traveler. I haven't slept in days. Time traveling is really a thing, and it's amazing. And I feel like I'm in the ascension transition. So it's a story that I'm writing down. It's a story written down in the cosmos. You start with the first dimensional plane, then you go to the two-dimensional plane, which is a square, and then you go through the third dimensional plane, and eventually the 4, which is connected by the X, Y, and Z axis. And then from that plane, we're literally in ascension right now because of the hyperdimensional and the dense energy cloud, which equals to crystals, ice, water. We are finally hearing the sound of the angels, of the celestial beings, because we are entering the dense energy cloud, which is the 5th dimensional plane, and it's literally the ascension and the DNA upgrade. I wanted to ask the people that are the unified people if they are using any type of visual during the meditations, because I have seen a lot of things. I saw the DNA upgrade. I saw the DNA strand. It's a code. It's a code that I still have to figure out, but I have to be patient because I finally surrendered. I surrendered. Thank you, Mark. I owe you that. I owe you, Mark Tezjbar. I owe you. Thank you. I am honored to finally talk to you.
Mary, I live in Ojai, which is not far from LA County. I would like to meet you. You are a real example of what we're doing here about making contact with our star family. You are literally making contact with your star family right on the computer right now. We're seeing it. Everybody is witnessing this.
I see it too. You're agreeing. I see the green light in you.
Yeah, well, that might be, I don't know, I think that might be...
it's technology, we're all connected.
I think that's a lens flare. I think that's just, the light's behind me, it's a lens flare. But this is no question. I recognize it. I've seen videos of people having orbs around them, and they blink just like what's happening to you. And so I would like to meet you, and I'd like to interview you, because your near-death experience is very consistent with other stories I've heard and people I know that have had experiences like you have had. And would you mind being on one of my programs?
I'm honored. I would love to finally share my story. People think I'm going crazy. People are telling me that I'm up there, and I'm literally up there. I would love to, Mark. I'd love to be
There's no doubt. I absolutely believe you. I know it's true. And I would love to help you share your story with the world because it's very important. And I think the fact that your star family, I'm telling you right now that blinking light is literally a higher dimensional being who's causing that light to flash for us to witness this. And you obviously have had a celestial contact experience through a near-death experience, and that's very consistent with my research, hearing other people share their stories, and and I can help you make sense of it. I can explain it exactly in scientific terms that these are people that love you. These are people in your family, in your soul family, who are around you. They're your angels, and they're your relatives. And this is what the Native Americans and the indigenous people around the world, this is part of their wisdom and their knowledge. They simply channel or contact their ancestors through meditation and through prayer. And they are blessed with wisdom and with guidance and help when they need it. And so we have the access to our ancestors as well. So that person or that being that's blinking right now, that's probably somebody who's very close to you, who's recently passed away in the last few years. Do you have a relative, like a mother or father?
And I actually made contact today. I had a revelation, and I have been recording. Oh my God, it's 8:23. It's 8:23. I have something with it. I know what it is. I've been getting tattoos of this one. It's amazing. It's my grandmother. I made contact with her today. She gave me a message. I recorded everything. Hi, Maya. Oh my God, Maya, you're in my story, and you are in my revelation, Maya.
Right on the computer. Watch. See that dot? I'm gonna go full screen here.
Doing that. It's my grandmother.
Yeah, right now. See that?
What? This is happening in real time?
This is happening in real time.
Oh my God, Marty. Maya, yes. It's my nana. It's my abuela. It's my grandma. Oh my God.
This is contact. This is what Tezjbar is talking about.
I saw her everywhere.
Yep.
You're literally like she's around me, and I feel her, and I know. Today I had a breakdown at work. I couldn't. I made contact with her, and she gave me a message, and I know who she is. I know where she is, and I know where my people is. I know where my Theo is, and he is. It's crazy. Like, I'm getting all these revelations, and I'm recording everything, and for some reason, some things are not getting sound. Some things keep getting trapped in that sound frequency is being the barrier now. Mark, yes, I need to understand more about the barriers.
Okay. When you're ready, I'm going to give you my contact information, and you can call me and let's meet.
Wow.
Because I know that one thing is that I've just heard you haven't slept in a few days, right?
I do, and I get it because of the ascension. It's part of the ascension symptoms, right?
Right, exactly. What's happening is you're having a very energetic experience, and it's resulting in you're not being able to fall asleep. I experienced this when I had my communion with Tezjbar. I didn't sleep for the first 3 days. And it's okay for a little while, but then it can become detrimental to your body and to your field, and you need to figure out a way to ground yourself and to calm down, and because this can become a negative cycle. It can make you sick, and that's not good.
Can you put your feet on the ground this time?
Yeah, what a really good exercise for you to do is to take off your shoes and go ground yourself. Literally, go walk on the grass, or take off lay down on your back And if you can take off your, or roll up your sleeves, roll up your legs, and ground yourself, that will help you calm down, and it'll, ground you, literally. And you need some good sleep right now. But
I know, I'm exhausted.
Understand what you're going through. I went through it myself, exactly what you're going through, and it's amazing, and it's so it's a state of nirvana, and
it's a state of nirvana. It's funny because today I'm wearing this knits and I'm wearing Elvis Presley. I don't know. It's music, harmony. Music is healing me. Music healed me. I was given this song. Beautiful song, Free by Hosh, which it literally unlocked me, unlocked the mystery of the 23 songs, music.
So I'm going to also send you the 13 songs that Tezjbar had me reproduce, and it's healing music. It's just like you're listening to music to heal. Look, what's that?
Whoa!
What's up there behind? Is that a plane behind you? Look at the sky.
Oh, did you see that? Did you see that? Talk, Mary. So Mary, say something so the screen can shift to you. Talk.
Oh. Let's just be quiet. Let's let Mary just feel into this. How are you doing, Mary?
I'm feeling a lot of energy.
Yeah, I can imagine.
She just hugged me.
So, Mary, Tezjbar told me years ago that my purpose, in part, was to help people like you deal with this transition. You are going through something that I went through back in 2012. And I can help you. It's really important that we meet. Okay?
Where are you calling from, Mary?
Where do you live?
I'm currently in West Covina.
West Covina, so she's close.
She can come up.
So, yeah, we can. So, what do you want to do right now, Mary? Because we're here to support you. If you feel like you need any support, we can do that remotely. I can send some support to you energetically right now if you would like to receive it.
I would love that. I need that.
Okay. Okay, I just want you to listen to my voice. Here, give me this. I want you to close your eyes and listen to my voice. Well, we're going to start with some breathing exercises, okay? Are you comfortable right now, physically?
I am.
Okay. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. And everybody else can please join us with Marie. We're going to do the CE6 protocol, just the breathing exercises, and we're going to sing Hue, okay? Okay. Okay, take a deep breath in and breathe out through your mouth. And everybody, while you're doing this, send your love to Mary. We're going to take a deep breath in now, and as we take a deep breath in, feel that pressure in your lungs, as if your lungs are filling up with love energy. You're charging up your heart chakra. And as we sing the note of creation, the hue, imagine you're sending that note, that sound of love, directly to Marie. And let's go ahead, and if you feel like you are softly saying this note, let's just experiment with this. Let's go ahead and unmute ourselves. Everyone can unmute themselves. And let's sing to Mary.
Doing the imagination. Oh no, she's Alright, just kidding. I know. She got full on
This is Robert from Twin Peaks, and you're listening to Inspirado, Projecto. Got a light?